Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Infinity, and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. Wow, I am feeling so many messages and downloads coming through today. So I am so excited to get into this reading with all of you. I feel like this is going to be a really powerful one because we're going to be talking about this major pivot or shift taking place when it comes to your soul's mission, or whatever you consider to be your purpose here on this planet in this incarnation. Now, of course, that purpose or mission or whatever you would like to refer to it as will differ from person to person. This is a very individual process and it's an intuitive process. So it's one that can only be unfolded by staying attuned to and following your own inner voice, your own intuition. With that being said, the purpose of these readings is to assist you in more consciously connecting with what your intuition is already speaking for you and for your life. So if something from this reading connects with what your intuition has already been speaking to you, that may be a sign of confirmation for you to really help you continue creating and evolving that roadmap for yourself. But leave whatever doesn't connect with you here, because it's most likely meant for someone else who is listening. This really is a co-creative process. So simply by being present here, wherever in the world you are listening from, and even whenever you are listening from, because of course, time doesn't really exist at a quantum level. So regardless of when or where you are listening, know that your intentions are playing a part in co-creating all of the messages and pieces of information that come through. Now, for those of you who are new, first of all, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I feel that you were drawn to this video for some kind of reason. So maybe there's some kind of message here that's going to strike you in a confirming or important kind of way. But if you are new, then keep in mind I channel these collective readings every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday here on YouTube at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And on those times and days as well, I channel an extended version of these readings on Patreon. So if while you're listening, anything here is resonating and you feel guided to join our Patreon Soul Tribe to go deeper into the messages, the link to the extended Patreon reading is always left in the pinned comment and description box underneath the video. Okay, so let's go ahead and shuffle and get started. And while I'm shuffling the Energy Oracle cards deck, if you do want to contribute your energy in a stronger way, I do recommend liking the video and subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, because when you like the video or subscribe, you are participating more strongly in the energetic transfer taking place here. So it does often make it easier for me to pick up on your energy and channel more specifically for you. Okay, and I am also going to be sharing some free-flowing downloads that have been coming through in more of a general sense, because I'm getting a major message for someone listening. And as I said at the beginning of this reading, I'm getting chills all over. Something about this just feels so powerful for someone. And I feel this thrill for you. I feel this excitement for you because of this next stage of your soul's mission here. because you've gone through the initiation. Someone I'm speaking to here, you requested something of the universe. And this was a dominant message that came through in a recent reading. But of course, these energies tend to carry over. It's a very fluid kind of evolution that takes place energetically. So sometimes messages will overlap because certain kinds of energies tend to linger. But with that last message, we talked about in a previous video how you are receiving something that you requested from the universe. And I feel that this could have been some kind of dream or goal that you had. Maybe you asked to be able to do something very specific in this world, whether it's related to a career, related to something that you wanted to create, a way that you wanted to be known or recognized or seen or understood in the world, a relationship you wanted to attract, whatever this was for you, you put in this request and the universe responded with a spiritual awakening and a really deep initiation. Now, the irony is, during this process, you may have felt as though, I'm hearing something about losing the plot. You may have felt as though the plot was lost in the sense that you requested something from the universe, or you desired something, or there was a dream or something of that nature. And then you began to go through this awakening. You began to expand your consciousness. I'm also seeing certain specific chakra centers were really healed and opened up. Now, this is going to lead us on a little side tangent, but it's important. For someone listening, your solar plexus chakra and your throat chakra were really opened up and strengthened. Now, for the person I'm tuned into here as well, your heart chakra has always been strong. So you've actually always been someone who is unusually connected to their heart, someone who feels things on a really deep level. And of course, the heart chakra is where all of those emotions are flowing. But what I'm getting is you've always been so heart open, but there were two weaker chakra centers around the heart that may have made it difficult to powerfully create with that open heart space, to put yourself out there in the world, to feel strong and confident within yourself and within what you were creating from the heart space. And so whatever you requested from the universe required an initiation that involved strengthening both your solar plexus chakra, your core, your sense of confidence. Now, I'm getting this may have involved a physical element as well. So you may have shifted the kinds of foods that you were consuming. You may have begun to become more physically active or strengthened your physical body in certain ways. Maybe you took up a very specific routine or practice involving physical movement that may be walking in nature, yoga, stretching, maybe even just deep breathing during meditation, breathing into your belly, which is where the solar plexus chakra resides. But something you were doing was like physically clearing, cleansing, and strengthening your body, which was facilitating this sense of deep confidence and groundedness in yourself as well. A sense of, I'm hearing, knowing your place in the world and being confident in that place and in that identity, even if it's something that many people do not necessarily understand. And of course, with the throat chakra, because we've talked about the solar plexus, with the throat chakra, a really powerful opening has taken place there as well. Because what I'm getting is you had all of this powerful heart chakra energy. You have always been very emotionally self-connected, but there was some kind of force that was closing off your throat chakra, preventing you from fully sharing your heart, whether this was through something you were creating with your voice, through just speaking your truth to the people around you with confidence, there was someone, something, or some force, and I'm seeing it was almost like an external force for most of you listening that was stifling this throat chakra energy artificially. Now, for some of you, this may have been an inner child wound. Maybe from a young age, you felt as though when you did share your heart or try to open up your emotions, you were shut down. You were told to be quiet or told not to express what you were feeling. For others of you, this may have been a person or a force or a structure in your life that somehow filtered, diluted, or stifled your truth, or made you want to filter or dilute yourself. Maybe you didn't want to come across too strongly to other people, or you were concerned about how other people would react to your truth, to you sharing your emotions. But your throat chakra has changed and shifted and opened in such a profound way that you're probably actually noticing this with your literal voice. I mean, yes, what you're creating may or may not involve your literal voice. This could be more symbolic. This could be you just living more in that energy of truth that you're exuding through that open throat chakra. This could be something that you are writing, something that you are building in business, whatever it is for you. But for some of you, this could involve your actual speaking or singing or like vocalized voice. But regardless, you are most likely noticing recently that something about your voice has changed. Maybe this has happened over the last few months, few years. There's a kind of strength and power in your voice. And when you speak, other people listen. You might notice that you attract more eyes on you or attention when you're speaking because people subconsciously recognize this opening that's taken place in your throat chakra and how that's affected the way in which you communicate yourself to the world. Now, this initiation has completely altered the energy that you are bringing to the table when it comes to manifesting some kind of goal, dream, or desire that you requested from the universe previously. Now, the message that was coming through is that for someone listening, there might be a little bit of confusion here or a little bit of hesitation. And the reason is you may have felt as though the universe was asking you to give up this goal, dream, desire, relationship, whatever it was. You may have thought that you were making some kind of trade-off. You may have thought that maybe you were wrong about even wanting that thing. Maybe it wasn't even aligned for you. Maybe it's not even on your soul's path. For some reason, you felt as though the universe was actually guiding you away from this person, thing, or desire. And again, it's going to be very different for everyone. This may have shown up as feeling a loss of interest, a loss of passion, a loss of desire. Maybe there was a time when you thought you didn't even want that thing anymore. You thought maybe that was just coming from my ego or my human self, and now I've gone through this spiritual awakening. Maybe that's not really on my path anymore. But the message I was getting so strongly is that the universe wasn't saying no when you made that request initially. The universe was saying, okay, I'm going to grant you that request, but in order for you to manifest this thing in alignment with your highest timeline, I am going to put you through an intense initiation process where you are going to become prepared to receive it. And to receive it in a way that is harmonious with your highest timeline, meaning a way that naturally dovetails and flows together with all other desires that you hold for your life consciously or subconsciously. And so those times when you felt you were being guided away from this thing, you were actually being guided through the initiation process. It may have been put on hold or set on a back burner for some time during that initiation. You may not have even realized that this initiation and awakening you've gone through has actually all along been preparing you to manifest or attract that very thing that you initially requested or desired. Because again, there's that element of feeling like you were being led around it, when really, in a roundabout way, you were being led directly into it. But again, this initiation was required for you to manifest it in harmony with your highest timeline. Because another message coming through, I saw the number 555 on my recording timer, so that indicates rapid change and transformation. Another message coming through is that you could have manifested it immediately, meaning on the surface, you could have gotten what you wanted. You could have gone directly from point A to point B. And some people did do that. Maybe people around you, maybe people that you saw online or people you were loosely connected with. You saw them achieving or doing or having the essence of what you wanted on the surface. But the thing is, many of those who are receiving very quickly the things that they think they want are doing so through a kind of force, push, or control, and not necessarily manifesting in this quantum way in harmony with their highest timeline. Now, of course, there's nothing right or wrong about that, because we all choose the life path we want to take and how we want to manifest and attract things into our lives. It's like the person who wins the lottery but isn't energetically or emotionally or even materially prepared to handle that amount of abundance physically. And so you hear those stories of them ending up back where they started. It's because they didn't go through the energetic or spiritual initiation to be able to accept and receive that outcome, that manifestation in harmony with their highest timeline. The same is true of whatever your scenario is. You can apply it to anything in your life, but it's almost as though you saw people around you getting the fast outcome or the windfall, and you may have felt as though you were really behind in life, wondering, what am I doing wrong here? Am I bad at manifesting or something like that? And that wasn't ever the case. It's that your soul opted to manifest this thing in a way that is very much in alignment with your own highest path and takes into consideration this myriad of desires that are both conscious and subconscious. But the feeling of hesitation that I'm picking up on from some of the collective here is there is this sense of uncertainty, because someone I'm tuned into here is feeling this reawakening, a reawakened passion or desire for something that they thought they left behind. And you may have even rationalized why you thought you were guided away from it, or you thought you were giving it up or trading it off for something else. You may have rationalized it to yourself or others when you left it behind because you lost that sense of passion or desire for it. But the thing here is, it's coming back up for you. Now, this reading might be hyper specific to a certain group of people. This won't be for everyone. But if this is for you, I know this is resonating, because lately you've been feeling this unexplainable pull back to something that you thought you left in your past. Now, this could be a person, a relationship, a career path, a job, a dream, a vision. But this isn't a going backwards. This isn't a regression that's pulling you into it. This is an advancement into the next phase of your spiritual journey and your spiritual awakening, because the initiation has completed itself. And that's why this dream or goal or thing that you thought you abandoned or traded off or left behind or sacrificed or surrendered is coming back up for you, because energetically, you are getting that green light we often talk about on the channel, where your intuition often has you at a green light or a red light, where you can know, okay, I'm meant to be stopped here for some reason. I may not know why, but that light isn't green. But then when the light turns, that's when your intuition pushes you into something. And just like with the red light, you might not know why you're being pushed forward, in the same way you may not have known why you were being slowed down or why you were being stopped. This is what's coming up here. You're getting that green light from your intuition that it's time to take action on something or to move forward, to let yourself flow with that energy of passion or desire or excitement. But there's this hesitation cropping up, because for so long, it wasn't time. For so long, that wasn't on your path. That wasn't in alignment for you, because you had to go through the initiation first. But it's almost like when some kind of operation or something is prepared, something is done, there's nothing more for you to learn at this level of initiation. And that's why you're being pushed into the next level. And this might even feel like being spit out of your previous reality that at one point was the optimal place for your growth. And there's a very clear way that you will know when you're in that reality trying to spit you out of it, and when you're aligned or aligning yourself with that new phase, that new reality pulling you into it. And the way that you'll know is you will be given signs and synchronicities from the universe. Right now, you might be feeling as though you kind of have one foot in both worlds. So sometimes you might be leaning into the previous reality where the initiation took place. And other times you might be leaning more into, well, once again, as I've said in previous readings, when this has begun to come up, we've started to brush on this topic, but never really addressed it in this full, clear way. But we've called it the destiny timeline. So you can feel when you're leaning into that destiny timeline as well. But you might be feeling like you're kind of going back and forth, wondering what's going on here. Why am I being ejected from this reality that for so long was optimal for my growth? And it's because the initiation is complete. It's because there's nothing more for you to learn there. And when that occurs, when an environment or a timeline or a relationship or a job or whatever it is no longer optimal for our growth, we will begin to feel that reality literally ejecting us from it. Now, as I said, there will be and are signs. For example, when you are still leaning into that completed timeline, so to speak, that initiation timeline, you might feel as though you're almost invisible to the people around you, like people aren't really connecting with you, perceiving you. You might feel like you just don't belong wherever you're going, rooms you move into. It's almost like the people around you recognize that you do not belong in that reality anymore. You might notice that there are communication issues with people around you. Again, it's almost like you just aren't able to communicate and connect within that reality. And it's because you're being pulled into a new reality. Now, the opposite is true for this new reality. When you're leaning into that, synchronicity will abound. In fact, if you're resonating with this so far, you may have begun to taste this as you start moving forward in certain ways that feel aligned with what I'm calling here the destiny timeline. You start to feel this deep sense of, I belong here. I belong here. This is what I'm meant to be doing. Now, don't get me wrong, there also will be fears, and that is part of what's playing into this hesitation, because these fears are going to come up as well. You're going to question it. You're going to wonder, where is this going? Where am I going on this track? What if, and you might start catastrophizing, what if X, Y, or Z happens as I follow this passion, as I step forward? And that is why the guides are coming in to remind you to focus on how it feels in the moment, not where it's going. Meaning, if this feels aligned for you, if it feels thrilling, exhilarating, if it excites that feeling of passion within you that's so genuine and runs right to the core of your being, almost like being lit up, trust that feeling and give yourself permission to follow that feeling without needing to know or thinking too much about where it's going to go, how it's going to unfold. Another sign you're leaning into that destiny timeline is something opposite of what we talked about with the previous timeline, which is, unlike on the previous timeline where you're going to feel like you just don't exist, or like, again, it's like people almost recognize you're not meant to be there and they overlook you. It's very opposite on this new timeline. You will feel so seen. Now, of course, there is still an element of loneliness here because I'm picking up on a soul that's very individualistic in this incarnation, meaning you are not technically alone spiritually. There are many other souls like you, but more likely than not, you haven't encountered many of those souls in the physical in this lifetime. You may often find yourself in a hermit mode. You may often feel a kind of loneliness that tends to sit with you. And yet, when you're leaning into this destiny timeline, there's just this feeling of belonging here. There's a sense that you are doing what you were born to do. When you walk around in public or in crowds of people, you might notice that other people tend to be drawn to you, or might even look at you or give you some kind of positive attention. They might compliment you, something of that nature. There's this sense of belonging in that reality. Even when you're in a group of strangers, there's a feeling of warmth and familiarity there, but also this exhilarating newness at the same time that's most likely really hard to describe. There's this sense of, I am just so happy with what I'm doing right now that I don't even need to know where this is going to go, because you're just riding the wave of that feeling, and that will take you to the next and the next and the next. And ultimately, on this timeline, this is where that dream, goal, or vision manifests. But there also has to be that element of trust that you've gone through the initiation. The universe is pushing you into this new timeline through feelings of pull, passion, and excitement. And that means that what is coming is going to be manifesting in alignment with all of your soul intentions, conscious and unconscious, because I'm getting that some of the fear or hesitation might be, well, where is this going to fit into my life? How is this going to fit into my other desires that I have for myself, or my other goals or needs, or whatever it is? I'm just hearing the universe has you covered, that everything is going to be manifesting in a way that is in alignment and automatically takes into account all of your desires, both the ones you can vocalize and verbalize and the ones you may not even be conscious about. But I just keep hearing, trust the feeling, follow the feeling. So this has been one of the strangest collective readings I've ever done. I will say, I think this is the very first collective reading where we haven't actually pulled a single card, because I started shuffling and then all of these messages just started coming through for someone. And I know the reason for that is because so many of you are here bringing your own extremely potent energy to this reading video. I know this was in a little bit of a different style than usual, but do let me know in the comments if anything here connected with you. What is your current soul's mission or purpose at this time? It could be something as simple as just living your life one day at a time, showing up for yourself in some way or for someone else. This could be as complex as some detailed goal, dream, or vision. I would love to hear from you in the comments. I really love this beautiful, mutually supportive community that we're creating together here on YouTube. So thank you again for being part of that. Now, in the extended version of this reading on Patreon, we are going to be doing a deep level aura read for you. So I know I've been doing these more recently. I feel like going chakra by chakra through all 7 chakra centers in this aura read is such a hyper-specific way to really channel through with some specificity how different people and energies could be interacting with you or impacting you at this time. So we will be doing that on Patreon, and also, of course, channeling any other pieces of information or details that want to come through. So if you do want to join me on Patreon, the link to do so is in the pinned comment and description box underneath this video. Of course, if you do resonate with the channel, I invite you to subscribe, join our beautiful community of like-minded, conscious, creative beings here on YouTube. And you can also follow me on Instagram at Magnetize Yourself, where I post more energy updates, inspiration, and information. I am going to pull 1 card in this YouTube reading. I'm sure we'll pull many, many cards in the extended reading. I have a feeling that's going to be much more a traditional style of reading video. But I am going to pull a Rumi card because Rumi just seems to have a way of always closing off the readings in this really high vibrational aligned fashion. So the card to come out here is Sacred Union, which is very interesting because we've not really talked much in detail or specificity in this reading about love or relationship. So I'm really curious what the Rumi guidebook has to say here. So I'm going to be reading a message from the guidebook here. And the poem here is, only the oneness of love and the lover is eternal. Surrender your heart into this union, for all else is momentary. Stupefied with bliss, I become without thought. There is no grief in that loss. I gladly surrender my intelligence in favor of this mindlessness. It is ecstasy, rapture. The sweetness of the union so sacred overwhelms my senses. The lover and the beloved are my world. Nothing else exists except this love, this unity of divine masculine and feminine, and the fresh new universe that shall be born from their sacred conjoining. It happens even now. Between my body and my spirit, all creation in sacred, rapturous embrace. This frenzy of loving delight without limits. This oracle comes to you as a portent, a sign of that which is to come, and also as a confirmation of your spiritual journey thus far. You have been working to integrate masculine and feminine energies within, to find the balance between living a surrendered life and leading from the heart, and then knowing when to take the initiative to set something into motion. You have been working hard to surrender attachment to plans and how you think things should go. So your confirmation is thus, you are growing, you are evolving, you are making genuine shifts in consciousness that are allowing you to change the way you are in the world, to become freer, more wild, more loving, and more divine. So that feels like a beautiful place to close this reading. Again, I will be continuing now on Patreon, so the link to listen to the extended reading is underneath the video. Otherwise, I am sending you all huge amounts of love and light energy. Have a beautiful remainder of your day, and I will connect with you here again in Wednesday's reading.